maybe you'll find a really cool treasure. I'm buying this and I'm buying that. It's awesome. So in my mind, when I think of thrifting, it's a wide variety of places that you can thrift. So there's obviously the thrift stores. When I say thrifting, I also mean like yard sales and garage sales, estate sales. Those are the best. Estate sales are the bomb. If anyone has ever gone to them, you know that you can find gold sometimes. So estate sales are really cool. Marketplace, I found a lot of stuff on Marketplace, and it's really easy because you can just look at home. Those are just a wide variety of like secondhand resale that I think of when I think of thrifting. Many people ask me how I thrift, how I get such good deals. I can't believe you found that at the thrift store. So I want to share my process on how I thrift. So I'm going to share some tips. One of the biggest things that I have learned is to make an ongoing list. In my phone, I have a list of all of the things that Josiah or I have said, we really need this, or I'd like to have this. So some needs and some, well, mostly wants, I put in the list, but they're not emergent and they're not things that I need like right now. So that leads me to my second tip, which is to be patient. If it's not an emergency or if it's not an immediate need, just wait. Wait until it pops up on Marketplace or your thrift store or whatever. And a lot of times for me, I have waited up to like 6 months to a year. Our rug, actually, I shopped around for that specific rug for like 6 months. So, and I love it and it's perfect and I wouldn't want any other one. It's just to be patient. Number 3 is to have an open mind when it comes to a certain thing that it's not quite what you were looking for, but it could work. When I look at an item, I say, could I paint it? Could I clean it up? Could I repair it? A lot of the times, if it's a simple repair, I will do it myself. So don't totally say no to something that could work. So have an open mind. And that goes for like some pants that maybe they kind of look like capris on you, so you cut them into shorts. So just have an open mind. Number 4 is sale days. So at our specific thrift stores here in town, there are certain days where there's like 25% off or 50% off. Kind of keep an eye out for those. Sometimes I don't even pay attention to it and it just happens to be a sale day, and that's just like a gift. Looking for things that are in the upcoming season. I do this specifically for Evelyn, but I also do it for Josiah and I. So that looks like for Evelyn to look for sizes that are just ahead of her and are the opposite of what she's wearing. So if she's wearing short sleeves, I look for long sleeves that are a size or bigger. So when it's summer and it's becoming fall, I start looking for some winter things. Also, another good tip, this is kind of a side one, but if you shop for things that are out of season after the season has ended, so say winter just ended and it's spring and you're going into summer, that's when you should be looking for winter things. And I know you just went through that season and maybe you're like, good riddance, I don't want to wear a coat anymore. But maybe looking for a coat in like May is probably a really good idea because it's going to be on sale, and I think that goes for like department stores too. But it's also a good idea for thrifting. Another tip I have is something you kind of have to be a little brave about, but one of the things that I am not afraid to do is to say no, it's not going to work, or it's not the right color, it's too big, whatever. Especially in like if you're meeting up with someone that off of a marketplace ad or Craigslist ad, and you're standing right in front of them and they're selling you the thing, sometimes it can be a little intimidating to be like, sorry, I don't want it. I have said no to a lot of things just because it was too big, or I didn't know that they had a pet, or they smoked and so it smells like that and I don't really want that in my house. So things like that, I like to see it in person and then make a final decision. Is this gonna work or not? I'm not afraid to say no. Sometimes my husband's like, oh, we just like said no. Just don't be afraid to say no. Another big thing for me is that before I leave the house, or before I say on Marketplace I'm interested in looking at your item, I have in mind a budget. So when I go to the thrift store, a lot of times I just go to browse to look for those things that are on my list that I'm kind of waiting that maybe they'll show up at the thrift store. So when I leave the house, I try to leave with a specific amount of money in cash that I know, okay, I'm not going to spend more than $20 on my outing. It's like, okay, I only have $20 and that's all I've got. But at the same time, I try not to go overboard. So if there's something in there that's like, oh wow, that's beautiful and I'd love to have it, and it's $30, sometimes I'll get it. I'll put it on our debit card or whatever, but most of the time I just say, I've only got 20, so I'm gonna pass that up. Things like that are big because it can get a little out of hand if you're just like, I'm buying this and I'm buying that, and you're just buying things like crazy. That's not useful. So before I leave, or before I ask some questions on Marketplace, I always have, this is the amount I am willing to pay. For our rug, I was really trying not to spend over $100, $150, and I found a rug that was $100. That was exactly what I wanted, so that was awesome. But then again, I also waited 6 months. So another thing that I have recently started to be more aware of is to not neglect certain parts of the thrift store. I recently have been loving the book section, and in the past I've been like, I don't need any books. Like, books are outdated. They're like not the thing anymore. But now that I have a kid, I'm always looking for kids' books. So that has been awesome. I think half of our little library has been from the thrift store, which is awesome. Another area is the fabric and like towels and curtains. And I have found pillow covers for our pillows in the living room and down in the basement. It's awesome because you can change up your pillows in your living room for $2 or $3, and it's super cheap, and I love that. So that's another area that I try not to neglect because there could be something really cool in there. And the last tip I have is, if you have the time, not everybody has the time, but if you have the time, go ahead and dig. And spend your time through the clothing aisle and go through one hanger at a time. That takes a lot of time, and I understand that. But it also goes for the decor, kids' toys, and electronics and things like that. Like, if you actually like push things aside and look behind, like maybe you'll find a really cool treasure. I don't always have time to dig, and when I do, it's often when I don't have any kind of schedule or anything going on, or Evelyn's not with me. I can just peruse and really dig, and that's often when I find some really good things because I'm pretty relaxed and I have time to dig. There you go, guys. Those are my tips for thrifting. I hope that they're really helpful, and if anything, I hope that you guys can use some of these tips on your next thrifting adventure.